Hey, and welcome to this tutorial on Lombok. In this tutorial, we will talk about what Lombok is and why everybody must use it. Then we will check out how to install Lombok on your favorite IDE. And in the end, we will see Lombok in action. Lombok is a library that integrates with your IDE and creates code in the background for your classes without you ever writing it. Let's look at an example. Here I have a class person with two private fields, first name and last name. If I want to access these fields outside this class, I have to create getter and setter methods. So I will go ahead and do that now. Here I have created the getter and setter methods for the two fields. I will also create a constructor using the two fields so I can instantiate this object. Here's that constructor. I will also write a simple main method to be able to test this class. Here I am creating a person named John and then simply printing it out. I could also do john.getFirstName and print that out. The methods getter and setter and the constructor with all the fields is what is known as boilerplate code, because it doesn't matter how a class looks like, the design of the code remains the same. So you have a getter and a setter for every field and a constructor with all the fields. That's where Lombok comes in. If you use Lombok, you don't really have to write this code. All you do is you write an annotation provided by Lombok, and then your IDE will automatically understand that these methods exist. Let's check it in action. So the first thing I will do is I will remove these constructor and the getter and setter methods that I created. As soon as I do that, I can see in my IDE that the constructor is not available and the method is not available. So all I have to do now is use the annotation getter, another annotation setter, and there's an annotation all args constructor. And as the name suggests, these annotations will create getter setter for every property and one constructor which will consist of all the fields. And as you can see, my code is again compiling. I can even run it and see that it actually works. Let's look at the two classes side by side. One with Lombok annotations and the another one where we had to write the boilerplate code. As you can imagine, as the number of classes and the complexity increases and the number of fields increases, suddenly the amount of boilerplate increases exponentially. So using Lombok is a necessity to avoid writing the boilerplate code. This way you can concentrate more on writing your business logic instead of just writing boilerplate code. Installation of Lombok in your IDE is as easy as it gets and is well documented on the Lombok website. Because I am using Visual Studio, so I will click on the Visual Studio Code Guide, and it says that the only thing I need to do is install the packet extension pack for Java in my IDE. Let's move over to my IDE and I will look for that extension pack, and I can see that it is already installed. Other than that, you need to make sure that in your project, in your Maven POM or in your class path, Lombok is declared as a dependency. Let's look at some of the most commonly used Lombok annotations. Please be aware that there are many more annotations than what we will see here. I will leave a link to the documentation down in the description where you can find more details about them. We already saw the three annotations getter, setter, and all args constructor. Now what if we would like to have another constructor which is an empty one? For that we have an annotation no args constructor. Another piece of boilerplate code that we always see in our beans is the toString method. I have generated this method here using my IDE. When you run this class, you will see that the person was printed as expected. Let's replace this toString method with its Lombok annotation. To do that, I will delete the toString method and annotate this class with the toString annotation. Let's run the main class again and we can see that it prints almost exactly the same value. Other example of boilerplate code that we always see in our project is hashcode and equals. Here you can see these code lines generated. With Lombok, we can replace this with two simple annotations. So I will delete these methods and annotate my class with equals and hashcode annotation. How cool is that? Another set of useful Lombok annotations are the logging annotations. Let's say you are using slf4j, then you would create your logger something like this. After that, you can use this logger to write some logs. With Lombok, you don't really have to create this logger. All you have to do is annotate your class with an annotation slf4j. This should create a field or property log automatically in your class, which you can then simply use to write your logs. I hope this short demonstration convinces you to use Lombok in your current and your future Java projects. If you have some questions, feel free to leave a comment. That's it for today. Till next time.